It is that time again. It is time for the cruise news, and I have several stories for you guys today. We got an expansion by Royal Caribbean. We got another country opening back up to cruising. We got really great news for folks up in Virginia that love to cruise. We have the Holland America's Refer a Friend program. And finally, the U.S. News and World Report. Well, they have released what they say are the best cruise lines out there. We'll have to see if everybody agrees or not. Chris here with High Seas Cruising, and welcome to today's video. All right, we're going to start off with Royal Caribbean and the Port of Miami, where it looks like Royal Caribbean is going to build a new cruise terminal. It's time for Royal Caribbean to expand again. Now, you know they just finished the cruise terminal there in Galveston, Texas. It's up, it's running, looks beautiful. It's all solar powered. So Royal Caribbean is looking to do it again, this time over in the Port of Miami. So normally Royal Caribbean uses Terminal A there in Miami, and when they have overflow additional ships in, they go down and they use Terminal G. Well, Terminal G is going to be redone into a Royal Caribbean exclusive cruise terminal. Now this new terminal will be, of course, Royal Caribbean exclusive, also for its sister brand Celebrity Cruise Lines, and it should have some of the newest innovations, the solar power, and it is also going to be equipped with the shore power options. If you're not familiar with shore power, that's where essentially they plug in the cruise ship when it comes into dock. That way they don't have to keep the engines running. If you've ever been on a cruise near a cruise port, you guys have seen it before. The cruise ship's sitting there, it's docked, but you still see the black smoke coming out from the funnel on top of the ship. Well, shore power allows them to shut off the engines on the ship, basically just plug in a giant extension cord into the ship, and it runs off of that instead of its own engines. So cleaner, more efficient, and a brand new cruise terminal coming for folks down in the Port of Miami. Japan's Ministry of Transportation, well, he announced yesterday that they are going to be reopening to international cruise travelers. So they're going to lift the ban, and this ban has been in place since March of 2020. So it's been there a long time. Japan has not been getting international cruise travelers. They're ready to reopen their borders and welcome us back to visit their country. Just like we saw in Australia, just like we've seen across all countries that have done a reopening to cruising, reintroduction of cruising back into the environment, naturally, y'all know this is going to come with health and safety protocols. You just know it's going to be there. We saw it here in the United States. We saw it in Europe. We currently see it going on in Australia. Well, Japan is not going to be any different. They're basically going to have the same requirements that we had here when we reopened for cruising. And that's going to be, pre-cruise testing prior to boarding. All the crew has to be fully vaccinated. And 95% of the guests are going to have to be fully vaccinated. So if Japan is on your bucket list of cruise places you want to visit, well, it is about to reopen back up. Like I said, there's going to be some health and safety protocols to go along with that. At least here at the beginning, I'm sure over time those will ease off just like they have here. But it's something to keep in mind if you're planning on booking a cruise to Japan here in the near future. Holland America, well, they have a Refer a Friend program. So yeah, you can refer a friend to sail on Holland America, and you can make a little bit of money by doing that. So you refer a friend, and once they cruise, they get a $50 onboard credit, and then you get a $50 onboard credit simply for suggesting, hey, you should go over and cruise on Holland America. It's great. I love it. Try it out for yourself. Make a little extra, onboard credit, a little something to spend while you're on board the ship, especially if you're already a Holland America fan, already love that cruise line. You just want to tell other people about it, get them to cruise. You can make a little bit of money from Holland America just by doing that. So folks that like to sail out of Norfolk, Virginia, well, you're going to get an opportunity for more sailings there. So normally you get the Carnival Magic, get it a few times a year, a couple of months out of the year. Sails out of Norfolk, Virginia currently. Well, Carnival is going to be expanding sailings in Norfolk, Virginia. And starting off, at least in 2023, you are going to get full 6 months of sailing out of the Carnival Magic, with the expectation that you're going to get year-round sailings by 2025. Now, the Carnival Magic is going to be officially moving from New York down to Norfolk, Virginia. Right now, she splits her time between the two. New York's going to be getting a different ship. The Carnival Magic is then going to move down to Norfolk, Virginia, and begin her sailings from there. And it's a start. You start getting in 6 months to begin with, then you're going to get full year-round sailings, and then you could see Norfolk getting either additional cruise ships or rotating the Magic out with different cruise ships, so more sailing opportunities for folks up there in Norfolk, Virginia. Now, this is a good thing, considering we already know that in Charleston, South Carolina, cruising there is going to stop in 2024 so that they can have work done there at the cruising terminal, in through the pier and docking areas down there in Charleston, South Carolina. So that is going to be closing there, which means Norfolk there will become the focal point for people that like to sail out of Charleston. Norfolk will be right there, still giving people in that area an opportunity to cruise at a home port, that's relatively close to home. So good news for the folks there in Norfolk, Virginia. Good news for the folks there on the eastern seaboard that like to cruise out of that area. You're going to have more chances and you're going to have more opportunities. And finally, the U.S. News and World Report, well, they have released their rankings of the best cruise lines out there in the world. They evaluate 6 categories, they rank them, and they decide what is best out there. Now, with any type of survey, any type of, this cruise line is the best, that cruise line is the best, I really want to start off by saying, look, these are subjective. They evaluate things like price, amenities, what's included in the cruise, what isn't included in the cruise, value, food, reviews on cruises, all these different things that they use to make these determinations. But again, at the end of the day, this is really just kind of an opinionated list of, what's best and what's not best. We all have our favorites. We all know what is number one to us. But I do want to share with you guys what they said were the top 3 in each of the 6 categories, again, according to U.S. News and the World Report. And let's see how that stacks up to how we feel about our cruise line. All right, so the first category is going to be best cruise line for the money. And they said number 1 in that category is going to be Virgin Voyages, that Virgin Voyages is the best cruise line out there for the money. Is that because so much is included in the price of their ticket versus some of the other cruise lines, which it's add-ons? Again, you have to decide for yourself whether or not you agree that Virgin Voyages is the number 1 cruise line out there for the money. Number 2 on the list was Carnival Cruise Lines, and number 3 being Celebrity Cruise Lines. So that is the top 3 cruise lines that USA News Today and the World Report said is best for money. Or best bang for your buck is basically what that comes down to. So the second category is best cruise line for families. And the winner of that one, Disney Cruise Line. Now that one there really doesn't surprise me. Of course, Disney Cruise Line is known for its family-friendly cruising. It's all about the families, activities for kids, children, young adults, old adults like us, because we do love sailing on Disney Cruise Line. But Disney Cruise Line, of course, has that price point that is much higher than a lot of other cruise lines out there. But they rank Disney Cruise Lines for best in family, with Royal Caribbean coming in the number 2 slot and Carnival Cruise Lines coming in the number 3 slot. So what do you guys think? Do you think Disney Cruise Line is the best cruise line out there for family? Best cruise line for couples. The number 1 spot goes to Viking Ocean Cruises. Number 2 is Seabourn. Number 3 being America. So again, do you guys agree with that? Are those the best 3 cruise lines for couples? Best cruise line in the Caribbean. Now, to me, that's a bit of a tall order to say, which is the best cruise line in the Caribbean. All the cruise lines sail to the Caribbean. They all have something really wonderful to offer. But according to them, this is the best 3 that sail to the Caribbean. Number 1 on that list, Disney Cruise Line. Number 2, Virgin Voyages. And number 3, Celebrity Cruise Lines. So do you think that is the top 3 cruise lines that are currently sailing to the Caribbean? Best cruise lines in the Mediterranean. Number 1, Viking Ocean Cruises. Number 2 is Seabourn. And number 3 is America. Now, I've never sailed in the Mediterranean, so I honestly do not know which cruise line would be best in the Mediterranean, but do you guys agree with these choices? And finally, the best luxury cruise line. Number 1, Viking Ocean Cruises, followed by Seabourn and Regent Seven Seas. So that is your top 3 in all 6 categories, according to USA News and World Report. What do you guys think? Agree with them or disagree with them? Like I said at the beginning, we all have our favorite cruise line. And no matter what kind of survey they put out, no matter what kind of, cruise award they put out. We all know what we like, we all know what we enjoy, and we all know what is our favorite. Let me know in the comments below what is your favorite and whether or not you agree or disagree with this particular list. All right, and that is going to be your cruise news for today. If you have enjoyed today's video, do me a favor and hit that like button. If you haven't done so yet, do me a favor and hit subscribe. It is free to do so. Helps our channel grow. Let you know anytime we put out a new video. Hope everyone out there is having a really great day, and like always, we will see you out on the high seas.